A lot of people around the world think 2024 is the perfect time to come to Tokyo Disney Resort. Well, I live here and I'm going to explain why you probably shouldn't come this year. Look at this footage of the entrance of Tokyo Disneyland 2 hours before the park opens. You're thinking, okay, these are the crowds for the opening of a new ride or something. Nope, these are the crowds for a Christmas parade that is 8 years old. Thousands of guests were getting to the park from as early as midnight the night before just to get a good spot for a parade they've probably already seen hundreds of times. This year, Tokyo DisneySea, the most stunningly beautiful theme park in the world, will have the largest expansion to ever come to any Disney park. Fantasy Springs will see the addition of Peter Pan, Frozen, and Rapunzel in a way that's sure to continue the beauty and majesty of the park it calls home. So why on earth wouldn't you want to come and check it out while it's still got that new land smell? Well, remember the crowds we saw earlier just to see a parade they've seen before? Imagine what they'll do for 4 brand new rides and a huge new land. Well, the parks must have some system in place to make things easier, right? Yeah, they do, but unless you're incredibly lucky, get to the park ludicrously early, and or spend crazy amounts of money, you're not gonna get in. Oriental Land Company, the owners and operators of Tokyo Disney Resort, released information on how to get access to the new area, and it is not going to be as simple as you'd think. There are 4 different ways you can get entry to the land, or port as areas of DisneySea are known. So I'll start with the most risky, and then get to the options that guarantee entry, but are expensive and harder to book. So the riskiest but cheapest way to get into Fantasy Springs would be to use the standby pass, which is included with normal admission. These were introduced in 2020 to avoid overcrowding the queue lines during the pandemic, but have hung around to be used when shops have limited merchandise or on characters' birthdays as the meet and greets become enormously popular. The way the standby pass works is that once you get in the park, you can choose a ride, get the pass, and then be given a time to go to the attraction. At that time, they'll let you enter the queue. It's basically a fast pass, but for the normal queue. Standby pass will be available for every ride in Fantasy Springs. The second option is Disney Premier Access, or DPA. This is a paid service that usually costs 2,000 yen for rides and 2,500 yen for shows and parades. DPA also gives you a time to come to the ride like Standby Pass, but it lets you skip the queue and get onto the ride a lot more quickly. Or in the case of shows and parades, it gives you access to better viewing areas. In Fantasy Springs, only 3 of the 4 rides will have DPA. These are Anna and Elsa's Frozen Journey, which is our Frozen Ever After, Rapunzel's Lantern Festival, and Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, leaving Fairy Tinkerbell's Busy Buggies, yes, that is the actual name of the ride, with no DPA. This is going to be really interesting, because with the lack of DPA and the low capacity, the Tinkerbell ride is going to be the hardest one to get on. I feel weird about this because I'd actually rather get the free standby pass than the paid DPA. I don't want to skip these queues, they'll probably be gorgeous. So this all sounds great, but don't forget, midnight the night before, for an 8-year-old parade. These systems are both first come first serve, so they're going to be gone in seconds after the park opens. Oh, and by the way, the park opening on the website will say 9 AM, but actually the park's open sometime between 8:15 and 8:45, so you don't even know what time you'll get in. Me and my lovely podcast co-host, Alex the Happy Zan, he has some wonderful photos on Instagram you should check out if you want to see really nice photos of the parks. We're both planning to stay up all night outside the entrance and cross our fingers that we're able to get on at least one of the rides. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy time, and we'll vlog the whole thing, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel if you want to see that. Even though it could end up with us staying up all night at the park entrance, getting in a second too late, not getting any ride passes, and then turning around and going home. You might think this is dramatic, as we could still go and see the new area, but no, you can't even do that. Access to Fantasy Springs is limited to people who have access to one or more of the rides. So, if you don't get one of these passes to get on one of the rides, you can't even walk around the new area. Yeah. Now, I have to say, there are 2 other ways you can get into the land which are going to be far less stressful than what I just described, but they're not cheap. Anyone who is a regular viewer of this channel will know that Fantasy Springs isn't just 4 new rides and some restaurants, it's also a brand new hotel. The Fantasy Springs Hotel will be inside the new land, just like the Hotel Miracosta is inside Mediterranean Harbour at DisneySea. But this new hotel is going to be even more expensive than this prestigious hotel. The Fantasy Springs Hotel is quite unique as it's split into 2 different wings, which are both different classifications. The Fantasy Chateau is the more affordable of the 2, with rooms starting at 73,500 yen, and the Grand Chateau being the premium wing, with rooms starting at 300,000. So surely a stay at the hotel guarantees you entry to Fantasy Springs, right? Right? Nope! Those staying in the Fantasy Springs Hotel will have the option to buy a Fantasy Springs Magic 1-day passport, which is more than double the price of a normal park ticket, from 22,900 yen to 25,900 yen for an adult. As if anyone staying in this hotel isn't going to want to get into the land. But for this price, the hotel guests can not only get into the land, but also get on every ride in there. But there's another thing in the small print of this pass that not only makes it super overpowered, but also will ruin the day even more for anyone not getting this pass. You see, the Fantasy Springs Magic Passport doesn't just get you into the rides once, it lets you skip the queues as many times as you want. So this is amazing for anyone with the pass, but it means that those normal day guests who are waiting outside the entrance for hours and hours before the park opens will have even less of a chance of getting on the rides, as a significant amount of the ride's daily capacity will be taken up by hotel guests re-riding over and over and over again. I know I would if I had one. It also means there's going to be a bizarre situation where there will be significantly more people skipping the line than there will be actually lining up. I'd guess that the plans for the land go back so far that they hadn't catered for this in the design, so I think a lot of these people will be missing out on some really cool queue lines. Unless they're just shoving all the DPA guests through the whole thing. I don't know. So this sounds like a great but expensive deal for anyone staying at the hotel. However, it can be incredibly hard to book the hotels here as they're so popular. The Toy Story Hotel books out months in advance every time, and this is going to be way more popular than that. The websites give the exact times that these reservations will go on sale, and I guarantee the website will be swarmed and they'll be gone in minutes. So even if you're happy to pay for these frankly ludicrous perks, you might not be able to. The fourth and final method of getting into Fantasy Springs, apart from breaking in, which might actually be the easiest option, is a vacation package. Vacation packages come in lots of different shapes and sizes depending on which hotel you stay at and the length of your stay, so you'll have to check those for yourself. But seeing as a vacation package includes the hotel, Fantasy Springs Magic Pass that we talked about earlier, queue skipping for other popular rides and attractions, character greetings and exclusive merch, this is by far the most expensive option. However, whilst these do sell out, they're not impossible like I think the Fantasy Springs Hotel will be. So if you're planning a visit in 2024, and I haven't already put you off, if you can afford this, it's probably your best option. I'd just like to say that if you've already booked a trip here this year, then wonderful. You're going to have an absolutely incredible time. But I made this video to warn people that if they're coming here just for Fantasy Springs, but they don't have a vacation package or they're not staying in the Fantasy Springs Hotel, you're gonna be in for a nasty shock. If you want a deep dive into everything we know about Fantasy Springs, then you can watch this video where I talk about just how amazing this new area is going to be. I just hope we can all get in.